all of those pieces, and am very passionate about mental health. So wanted to talk about how to use essential oils. So I use essential oils for mental health every single day. We use them in our house. We use them for myself. We use them for my kids. I have anxiety, so I use essential oils all day to cope, to support that. I diffuse. I have my diffuser going over there, and I also have my bracelets that I wear every single day that I put essential oils on. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. I do want to start with this disclaimer, though, that the information discussed today is for informational purposes only. It's not intended to diagnose, prescribe, or treat any health condition, and should not be used as a substitute for consulting a professional healthcare provider. So that's super important. I'm here to provide you with some information. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a healthcare provider. I'm going to give you stories today based on the research that I've done, based on my own personal experiences, as well as those experiences of my friends and people that I've met along the way. What I'm going to talk about today is only related to Young Living essential oils. They are the only product that I use, and that's all I'm going to talk about today. And that's for a very specific reason. They are, when you see essential oils in the store, it's not comparing apples to apples. This is a whole other level of essential oil compared to what you can purchase in the store. I'm not going to spend too much time on that in the presentation today, but please go onto my YouTube channel and look at the video on comparing Young Living to other brands, because it's not comparing apples to apples. So the only information I'm going to talk about today is Young Living. So once again, I do have anxiety. And I'm very passionate about talking about this, because the more I talk to people about this, there are so many people struggling. And I hate the word struggling. I'm not going to say struggling, because I have anxiety and I'm not struggling. Okay. I'm great. I'm awesome. If I say struggle, I'm going to try and stop myself, because I don't think it's, if that's a word for you, that's fine. But for me, I don't struggle. It's just who I am. It's part of my day. And it's life. So that's for me how I see it. So when you're using essential oils for mental health, the one thing that I do want to say is, well, two things. One is that consistency is super important. You cannot use essential oils one time, Young Living essential oils one time, and expect to be fully supported and feel great. Consistency is key. So that's for anything essential oils, but very important for mental health, consistency. The other piece is that everybody reacts differently. So the oils that I'm going to talk about today that work for me might not be the same for you. So you need to be committed to the thought of, trying out a few blends to see what works for you, and not giving up right away, giving it a little bit of time to see if that's going to work for you. And then maybe you need to try a little bit of a different combination. So consistency and your ability to try different combinations or different oils until you find exactly what works for you. So what I use every day, as I said, on my diffuser bracelet, I have 2 bracelets on right now. I use Valor. There's my Valor, and here's my frankincense. So every day I use Valor and frankincense. Every morning, every single morning, that's what goes onto my bracelet. And what I have in the diffuser going many days, this one is a game changer for me, is Joy and frankincense. So Joy helps for me with anxiety for sure, and helps with irritability. That's one that helps me with irritability, and Frank is good for absolutely everything. So for me, that's what works. I have a very dear, just a few other experiences of colleagues, friends of mine. I have a very, very dear friend, and her name is Karen, and she's comfortable with me sharing this story, so I am going to share it. And her son, Alex Monahan, he committed suicide about a year ago. And there are no words for me to even imagine that pain and that grief and what she went through and what she continues to go through every single day. So in that moment, the only thing that you could think of, that I could think of to share with her, are oils for grief. So I made her a grief roller ball, and I made her PTSD roller ball. And she continues to use them every single day. So even if I could just support her in just the smallest way, she keeps them in her purse and she pulls them out, uses them as often as she needs to. She shared them with all of her family members and talked about it. And so I'm happy that I can share that story with you, and she will forever be in my heart, as will Alex. But that is one example of how the essential oils can be used. I have another friend who is working through PTSD and depression right now. And she, again, I've made some roller balls, tried to help through. Again, I'm going to say it over and over again. I'm not a healthcare professional. Always go and consult a healthcare professional. This is just essential oils are something that you can use in addition to that. It's just a supplement. It's another option. It's something else to try. I am by no means against modern medicine. I'm a user of modern medicine, but I'm also a user and a believer in essential oils as well. So don't miss the medical part if that's something you need to seek help for, and go and do that. This is just another option of something to think about. So I have a friend that's managing PTSD and depression through essential oils right now. And I have another friend who's managing her child. I have a few friends, actually, 2 or 3 friends whose children have anxiety not badly. This is a tough one. They are managing their anxiety for their kids. And they have little bracelets for their wrists so they can keep this on at school. So all day, if they need to, they can smell it. And again, it's being absorbed into the bloodstream through the beads. So lots of mental health, I think, touches a lot of us. And here is another option. And I'm very happy to help through suggesting some oils that may help you. Okay. So, I know I've experienced it firsthand every day that emotional health impacts physical health. So there are physical symptoms as a result of mental health. And that's the reality. And that's part of management every day. Essential oils have been used to support many things for a long time, years and years and years and years and years ago. And that's a different video. But even with regards to mental health, so there's a French surgeon, Jean Valnet, and he was in World War II, and he started using essential oils to manage mental health of some of his patients when their medicines were scarce, as well as there was obviously a much different understanding of mental health back then. But he was a user of essential oils for mental health back in World War II. Now, I don't want to go too much into the science of this. If you're really interested in how the essential oils, and again, I'm only speaking of Young Living, impact mental health, go, because there's so much research out there. But pretty much what happens is through inhalation. So when you inhale through a diffuser, or if you inhale off your bracelet, or however you inhale, the molecules go into your nose and into the limbic system within your brain. And that is known as the emotional brain. And that impacts controls many different things in our body. It controls our heart rate. It controls our body temperature. It controls our blood pressure. I wrote them all down because I'd never remember. Sleep, body temperature, sex hormones, thyroid hormones, thirst, hunger, stress, and breathing. So all of those are impacted pieces through the limbic system, which is directly linked with the olfactory nerve. So again, lots of science, but look into that if you're interested. I don't want to spend too much time on that. So lots and lots of research, again, out there on the impacts of essential oils in mental health. And I've just pulled out a few studies just to give you a little bit of background. Again, most of it comes from experience and supporting myself, my family, and my friends. But in the Journal of Nursing, 2 groups of women were divided after childbirth. Half of the women were asked to inhale lavender every 8 hours for 4 weeks. And the other group was no lavender, was the control group. And the group that inhaled the lavender had significantly lower depression at 2 weeks, 1 month, and 3 months. So even after the study ended. 44 people suffering from chronic pain. They used aromatherapy with essential oils, and those that participated in the aromatherapy had significant reductions in depression, anxiety, and stress. And again, these are all research studies that you can find. If you search journals, there are lots. A study done by Perry et al., their final conclusion, and I quote, "Essential oils provide an effective treatment for a range of psychiatric disorders, appears to be without adverse effects of some conventional psychotropic drugs." Again, I'm not going to say anything bad against any sort of medicine today, just the point that essential oils are another option to support mental health. 2014 study, 58 hospice patients were given hand massages. Half used essential oils for the hand massage, half did not. Those that used essential oils within their hand massage had a decrease of pain and depression compared to those that only had the hand massage only. A literature review was done of such studies, and aromatherapy with essential oils was found to be supportive for relaxation, reduction in anxiety, depression, reduction in fatigue, improved quality of life. But the big important thing that I want to say here about that and about their conclusion within the literature review is that the oils must not be adulterated. That is so big. So that's what I was talking about at the beginning of the video, that you're not comparing to apples. Young Living essential oils are the absolute most pure. So if you go and get another oil, it's adulterated. If you buy an oil from the store, it's adulterated. The process, again, please watch the other video, but that is a big deal, okay? The conclusion of the study that the essential oil must not be adulterated. So it must be a pure, this is pure Young Living essential oil. Again, watch that other video, so important. Okay, so I made a list, and as I said at the beginning of the video, you need to be willing to try different combinations. What I used was Valor, Joy, and Frankincense. That took me a long time to figure out what works for me. So I've provided about 5 or 6 different options, but you will see that there is some consistency within the oils. So if anger is something that you're working through, Idaho Blue Spruce, Freedom, I'm not going to show them every time, but just to give you the idea, Valor 1, Valor 2, there's 2 different Valors, Bergamot, Cedarwood, and Frankincense. Okay, so those are the 6 oils. What you will see as I read through the list, it's the Idaho Blue Spruce, the Valor 1, and the Valor 2 are fairly consistent. So if you're thinking of purchasing something different, these might be good places to start, along with Bergamot. Bergamot is another one, okay? But I will read through because you may have some of them already at your home. So anger, let me just go back. Idaho Blue Spruce, Freedom, Valor 1, Valor 2, Bergamot, Cedarwood, and Frankincense. Now, when I list off the oils, there's a few ways you can do this, right? So definitely for mental health, less likely to ingest them. Okay, much more effective, I'll say, through inhalation is the one I would suggest first, is inhalation. And then second would be topical application. So again, putting it right on your wrist, putting it on the bottoms of your feet, which is definitely very effective. Temples, perhaps for smelling, back of neck, front of neck are just some options. But if you have the option to have the diffuser going, that's a good way to do it. Again, second choice would be topical. So these are good because they are, I can smell them anytime and they're touching my skin. They're topically on my skin. But bottoms of feet is also another good way, through a roller ball, okay? So for anxiety, try Idaho Blue Spruce, again, Freedom, Valor 1, Valor 2. Another few options, Roman Chamomile, Ylang Ylang, Frank, Peace and Calming, and Joy. Frustration, if you feel frustration a lot, Idaho Blue Spruce, Valor 1, Valor 2, Palo Santo, and Roman Chamomile are good options. Mood swings, Idaho Blue Spruce, Valor 1, Valor 2. Peace and Calming is another option. Idaho Balsamic Fir and Clary Sage. So a few other options there for mood swings. Argumentative, Idaho Blue Spruce, Peace and Calming, Cedarwood, Frankincense, Freedom, Joy, Valor 2 are suggestions if you find that you're argumentative. Irritability, Idaho Blue Spruce, Valor 1, Valor 2, Joy, and Idaho Balsam Fir. So resentment, if you're feeling resentment, Jasmine, Rose, Forgiveness, Rudavella, Idaho Tansy. Panic, if you suffer from panic, Idaho Blue Spruce, Harmony, Valor 1, Valor 2, Bergamot, Idaho Balsam Fir. You suffer from, and again, I don't like that suffer. We're not, maybe you are suffering. I don't want to downplay that, but I don't want to assume you're suffering. Okay, I don't want to assume you're suffering. I have anxiety, and I said I'm not suffering. I'm great. I'm head on, and I'm managing. So if you are suffering, then absolutely, but I don't want to assume. Depression, Sacred Frankincense. That's a bit different than frankincense. Valor 1, Valor 2, Idaho Blue Spruce, Frankincense, Aroma Ease, and Palo Santo. Obsessiveness, Clary Sage, Sacred Mountain, Valor 1, Valor 2, Palo Santo. Fear, Idaho Blue Spruce, Palo Santo, Valor 1, Valor 2, Cypress, Roman Chamomile, and Aroma Ease. A few more here. Guilt, Roman Chamomile, Cypress, Valor 1, Valor 2, and Juniper are good choices. Stress, Idaho blue spruce, Roman chamomile, stress away, aroma ease, and ylang ylang. Grief or sorrow, bergamot, palo santo, Roman chamomile, valor 1, valor 2, joy, clary sage. And the last one I'll touch on is PTSD. So valor, inner child, harmony, joy, lavender. Now, just so you understand, there's a few differences. So Idaho, let me look at this one. So cypress is a single oil. So this is just cypress, where valor, for example, is a blend. Just so you understand, there's a bit of a difference. So cypress is pure cypress oil blend. Valor is still pure, but it's a blend of 5 or 6 different oils within it. Just so you understand that there are blends and singles within the Young Living essential oils. Now, I did want to discuss probiotics as well. There is early research on, I don't want to say too much, but there's some preliminary research on the connections of your gut health to your mental health. So on Wednesday this week, I'm doing a talk on supplements and probiotics. So if you want to learn a little bit more, but that's for everybody, and I'll talk about it on Wednesday. I highly, highly, highly recommend probiotics in general. Anyways, the other thing that Young Living is coming out with soon is CBD oil. So when that comes out, we'll have a little bit more information if that's something you're interested in. So in summary, I hope that I have personal experience with essential oils and mental health. I have lots of dear friends and people that I've met along my journey that have found success with essential oils supporting their mental health. By no means am I suggesting that a healthcare professional is not, direction is not sought. If that's something you're interested in, they can happen in combination of, if you're supporting managing your mental health through medical, modern medicine, and you want to use essential oils as well, they can work together. They can both support you along the way. So that's all I have to say. I wish you a lovely journey, whatever your journey is. I'm always here if you want to reach out, and we can chat anytime. Have a great night.